Greetings, good people. What's up? What's happening? My name is Dr. Clarence, and welcome back to TV7 Live, where we get to give you all the hottest and top trending topics. So, what is happening today? In this live broadcast, we're going to be covering a few stories, which is Walter Mzembi. We're seeing Walter Mzembi accusing Christopher Mutsvangwa of plotting to remove Emerson Mnangagwa. Now we are seeing ED. Remember, a few days ago we saw ED saying, when the time comes, okay, I'll leave office. When he made that speech, he seemed very angry. Now that ED is committed to not extend his term unless what we saw happening during Mugabe's era happening, we know Zimbabweans are crazy enough for us to see 1 million people marching mutaundi vachida kuti Mugabe aramba ari achitonga nyangwari pa-wheelchair. So I think Mnangagwa, with his intelligence level, understands that Zimbabweans have that type of mentality. So it depends on him kuti arida kumbonakirwa were neupenyu ambonogara kunze kwenyika uko ari pa-retirement and not make the same mistake that Mugabe did. So now the issue of factionalism, what happens next, who comes next after Mugabe? We see the police forces choosing the other vice president instead of the other vice president for the handing over of vehicles which are not supposed to be handed over to the police by any vice president but by a minister. Why would that happen? Then we see on X.com, Zanu PF, Dexter Nduna appealing to Kasukuwere, former Zanu PF political commissar. Why would he be doing that? And Walter Mzembi to come back into the political party. Why would they be needing them? Anyways, let's get it on. Before we go even deeper with this video, enough respect to everybody who's watching us live. To those watching us live, you can write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat. That's how I can see your name, so I can give you my shout out. All right. Big up to Simbi, Somakwarimba, Human Trinos, Maria Muzidziwa. So after we finish this live broadcast, we're also going to be back again at 9:15 with another broadcast where we're going to be talking about Zimbabwe's heroes, unsung heroes, and also I'm going to be giving a list of heroes that have been persecuted under Zanu PF, not government. Government does not oppress people or persecute people. Government prosecutes. I'm talking of persecution. We are seeing Walter Mzembi here on SABC, and I respect that lady from SABC. I usually call her our lady. The SABC correspondent to Zimbabwe, a respectable lady.
After 7 years, we are still able to directly or indirectly discourse within Zanu PF. Then it means we have a local standard in the matters that relate to Zanu PF as a party. We have been in exile for 7 years. How do we direct discourse inside Zanu PF when we are not members inside this party? How does he name drop Kasukuwere and Mzembi inside the succession debate in which we absolutely have no local standing because we are members in bed standing according to them. That's why they expelled us after 7.
All right, that is Walter Mzembi. They're speaking to, what's her name, Sophie Mkwena from SABC there. I'm just going to rewind it with an increased a little bit of gain and volume. All right, the tonality that he is using, he really feels this one. He's really passionate about what he's talking about. That is a Dr. Walter Mzembi. He has been Minister of Zimbabwe, for Minister for Foreign Affairs, Minister for Tourism also. He's an academic and one of the brilliant minds we had in Zimbabwe. People who were really, really brilliant, as in brilliant, straight from God.
when we are not members inside this party? How does he name drop Kasukuwere and Mzembi inside the succession debates in which we absolutely have no local standard because we are members in.
All right. How does Mutsvangwa name Kasukuwere and Kazembe and Mzembi in a succession debate? How would he do that? It would be out of strategy because it is a story. If you cook up to people who can take time to think about anything, it doesn't make sense. But to people who don't bother thinking about things, a lot of people don't think about things. Even when I just say think about things, people just don't think. We just listen to things. Even when we are reading at words, we don't read it words letter by letter. We just look at them and just see the words, right? But if somebody can calculate what lie, what propaganda can I tell people that people do not disbelieve, that is believable by default. That's why we see in movies, people like to see a movie of a story they already know. People like to buy music that they already know. So this is the approach. So it would mean that whatever moves by Christopher Mutsvangwa are very calculated moves. So we are seeing this. Walter Mzembi described Mutsvangwa as a charlatan, noting that he has been dismissed as a cabinet minister both by former President Robert Gabriel Mugabe and Mnangagwa himself. According to Mzembi, Mutsvangwa is not a cooperative team player, but rather a disruptive force within the ruling party. Then he goes on, he continues. He continues to accuse Mutsvangwa of employing tactics that create discord and undermine unity among party members, suggesting that his actions are driven by a penchant for gossip and seeking to create a division. This assertion adds to the already tense political climate in Zimbabwe, where the internal party conflicts and leadership challenges are common. Mzembi's remarks could further exacerbate existing tensions and contribute to the ongoing scrutiny of Mutsvangwa's political maneuvering. As the situation develops, all eyes will be on how Mutsvangwa and Mnangagwa respond to these accusations and the impact they may have on Zimbabwe's political landscape. So, in general, what Mutsvangwa is doing now, this is my own opinion. What Mutsvangwa is doing, because remember, Zanu PF mune stake Zanu lane Zipra Jakasiana, like Vice President Zanu lane Zipra, right? Mutsvangwa can stand a chance when there are sitting divisions in a political party. However, on that, a better option for me personally would be somebody like Obet Mpofu. Even though Obet Mpofu is accused of corruption, I don't think being an investor and amassing wealth is corruption. He's a respectable elder in the party who is not controversial, and like having a character like Christopher Mutsvangwa. When we are talking of Zipra people, so we have a lot of respectable people in Zipra, like Valerio Sibanda, who was also a Zipra. But I don't know why the side of Zipra always brings imbeciles, even going from back into the post-independence era, where we saw Mugabe generously giving a ministerial post to a party against a majority, yeah, Joshua Nkomo, right? But we would see uprising on that to the level which nyika makashika kuti madissidents nyika ikashika paku employer that 5th brigade, and again leading to the incident which would lead the Intumbane uprising. We still had many military factions. Then Pangoa and Intumbane are uprising. So that can also link to the evidence, how influential Josiah Magamatongo Gara was and why they killed him before independence. Because post-independence, Zimbabwe, we still even have a Rhodesian rifle, something RIR, special Rhodesian rifles, African rifles, I'm forgetting the name, Rhodesia African rifles, RIR, still operating here. Those that touted the Intumbane uprising. So we had many factions. Remember, the first military general who is published outside to the world was not the guy from the Zimbabwe People's Army, Rex Nongo. No, it was not Rex Nongo, and I don't know why Rex Nongo is presented as Tongo Gara's deputy. Was he? Because he was with the Zimbabwe People's Army that was created in Zambia. So army yanga ine divisions yekuti team iro, team iro, team iro, team iro. Then Zipra yanga ine bases. It maintained my bases out of Zimbabwe post independence. So the issue of bases and where we are right now, and factionalism, what factions and forces exist in Zimbabwe as we are seeing Nyaya, Zanu Mutsvangwa coming into play. This leads us to here. Not much is happening. People have not planned post the present. People are actually beginning to be very clever, and people who have always been planning, people like Emerson Mnangagwa, we saw him even becoming a president, despite the fact that Mnangagwa would have stood by the side of Robert Mugabe for a very, very long time. So he learned from Robert Mugabe very quickly. That is what Mnangagwa would do as a crocodile and a strategist. This is an image there at Earl's Court. That is 1987. We are seeing Mugabe. You know, one of the guys there is Innocent Kala, Emerson Mnangagwa, and that guy is Dambudzo Marechera. There, one of the great philosophers from Zimbabwe, who I personally respect, because today is Heroes Day. I would like to take this moment just to honor him. All right, thank you. Enough respect to Simbisa Makwarimba watching us live right now. Reuben Trinos, ZW, Marian Muzizgwa, Anderson, Chimkono, Jiri say, Homemade Prawn. Enough respect to everybody. Priscilla Mangwende, say Richard Kadondo says, Doc, we love you. Thank you very much for that positive thing there. You know, it is very easy doing this live broadcast, and it's uneasing sometimes to see people hating on you while you're doing something that is positive. Okay? When I should correct English, etc, just because they want to sound like you, they know, not that knowing English better than anybody is an advantage, but they're just people who want to sound superior by dissing somebody else with a useless fact. So it is a behavior I speak about because it is our job as human beings to crush the devil, and his techniques, the techniques that is usually used by the devil. Satan necessary, you know, techniques like that. So we always expose them here on TV7 Live so that when you see them, you will know them. And it will be the devil's number one agenda to stop the few nuggets or the humor I throw in the videos here and there, which seem like it's a small part of the video, but it will be the agenda of the video. The actual agenda of the video is not political news. It is the lessons we learn and how we can improve ourselves. And those lessons come in small nuggets. Big up to Dumisani Ngongo. Says Mpofu looted farms along Blawayo and Victoria Falls Road, which he also took game ranges. Okay, those things, yes, he looted, but the way he looted by investing in them. Maybe it was position or what. So the issue I'm talking about him compared to Christopher Mutsvangwa. He's somebody who would loot at least paying something on it or at least trying to be legitimate. Christopher Mutsvangwa is a straight up violent person. So I wouldn't prefer him. He's a dictator. I was just giving an example of the guys we have in Zipra. Okay. in terms of respectability, who can be respectable. Anyways, above them all is Valerio Sibanda. If we can watch some of his clips, how he speaks, how he handles himself on social media. He is what we would call the base of respectability generally. Now, come back to Zanu PF. Dexter Nduna appeals to Kasukuwere and Mzembi. We go to X.com. We are seeing Dexter Nduna appealing to Xavier Kasukuwere and Engineer Walter Mzembi to reconsider returning to the party. Then he writes this: maybe you comrades need to find common ground. You can't remain enemies forever. By coming to the table to talk, you might discover that you might have in common more than you think. In politics, there are no permanent enemies and friends. So that level of integrity, where a person can understand, for me to work with you, you don't have to be my friend. It is very rare, a rare characteristic in Zimbabwe. That's why we see post-political prominence, persecution, right? Vanhu vanoterana kuti ngaachisara asina chinhu, kauni kekuda kufikisana kaxenophobic mind kekuti munhu anoisa munhu tai obadza moto. That is the type of behavior we have. We don't understand. We take things personal, which are not supposed to be personal. Like things like government work, things like governance itself should never be personalized. Like we see the majority of overzealous, brainless Zanu PF supporters do. Feeling entitled. That is the furthest opposite of what is supposed to be. It should never be personal. Service is not personal. Service is selfless. The moment you mention that we fought for this country, by just mentioning that you went to the war to liberate the country, by just giving yourself that honor and that credit for that, the moment you do that, you are no longer a liberation war hero. The moment you do that, you claim you are no longer a hero. You are a sellout. You are a tin. The moment you say we fought for this country, that literally nullifies your heroism. I think any magistrate or judge would agree with me on this one, that at law or at any perspective, that is what will be. The moment you claim, it will not be a sacrifice, because a sacrifice is supposed to be selfless. It's supposed to be selfless. Selfless. It's supposed to be about others, putting others first. That's what makes it heroic. The moment you start to mention it, it means you were once a hero. Talking of heroes, today, Zimbabwe President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa honors one of these guys who is a living hero among us. Of course, in Zimbabwe, we have had many heroes. This guy, his name is Sirizani Butau. He was given the Gold Cross of Zimbabwe. In 2021, pane bhazi rakadhumana netruck, right? Pobva paita moto, right? And this guy, I'm just looking for the image. This guy rescues 8 people at least successfully, including the truck driver in the other truck. Just look at these images. What happened here? Akachap. Those are heroes. Real life heroes. The selfless act of doing that. That is a hero. Injuries don't necessarily mean that you are a hero. Cannot kusungwa mungu aye hondo vozo buda honde apira. Doesn't necessarily mean you are a hero. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are not a hero. But this guy is visibly burned. He's burned. Like the trauma we are suffering through the year from 2000 those guys in their deals, the DRC deals, printing money, the traumatization that we have suffered. Those are heroes. The people who were disrespected while alive, like Chinks Chingaire, those are heroes. The people who were persecuted, like Oliver Mtukudzi, those are heroes. The people who are under-celebrated, like Dambudzo Marechera, those are heroes. The people who paved a way for the entertainment industry, like Fortune Mparuta. Those are heroes. Groundbreaking doctors making groundbreaking research like Dr. Christopher Chetanga. Those are heroes. Some, they didn't even hold the gun or even the barrel of a pen, like Thomas Mapfumo, now living in exile. Those are heroes that boosted the morale of the fighters during the liberation struggle. Those are heroes. And now they continue to be persecuted by overzealous charlatans who think just because they are a member of an organization, they think anybody owes them respect. They feel entitled just because they are part of an organization that has managed to win an election by hook or crook or luck. The likes of pioneering ambassadors like Roger Boka, those are heroes. Strive, Masiwa. Even before founding Econet, we will see Zanu PF try to steal his idea, and they come with this failed network, which now has less than 100,000 subscribers, Telecell. People like Strive, Masiwa, those are heroes. And every Zimbabwean who endures entitled agents of the devil. With that, I sign out.